Welcome to It Is Always Now with Marty Long. Get ready to open up and let true joy into your life. Join Marty for conversations about inclusivity and respect, the importance of curiosity, and making change happen. Your journey of exploration and discovery into the greater world around us begins now. Here's Marty.
So first I'm going to pick up where we left off and doing a quick synopsis of each of them, and then I'm going to give closing remarks that I think will help you understand what that really is. So now, number 14. I've found that to be a complete person, it's important to find ways to connect with the world around us. It's these pursuits that help you better understand and appreciate the diversity and beauty of the world around us. Travel is just one way to do this. The Dalai Lama says, once a year, go to a place you've never been before. And to that, I immediately feel I must add, it doesn't have to be out of the country. It can be in your own state, your own city. Maybe there's a museum you haven't visited yet. 15. Hot stone method. The eternal does not do a lot to change a physical body in this life, or our core personality, as far as I can tell. The body is the pot that contains your soul. And that's what the eternal cares about. He nurtures and feeds your soul. And in fact, that, while it can't change your personality, it can change how you approach things and how you feel. The eternal provides that clear, cool water that quenches the fires within us that are often driven by our own actions and reactions. 16. Elusive truth. Determining what truth is very difficult because it's elusive. Here, I chose 3 different movies that showcase different ways that truth is elusive. Number 1, we never have all of the facts. Number 2, we're afraid of truth that makes us uncomfortable, so we rationalize it away. And number 3 is the most important of all. You cannot look into someone else's soul, which is why we must never judge others around us. And we need to be gentle with ourselves, too. Number 17, polish your touchstones. I did a little search on Google, and touchstones, that word, that concept gets used in so many different ways. But here, I want to tie it in, of course, to what we've been talking about. And this is what I have come to call the 4 corners of spiritual renewal. Physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Now, Webster says that a touchstone is a fundamental or quintessential part of something. And clearly, our physical, emotional, mental, spiritual aspects are, well, actually, they encompass everything we are. So we need to learn to listen to the feelings that our body gives us related to these emotions, biofeedback. And those moments of feedback can help us understand, oh, it's time to stop and see where we're going. So physical. Is your body telling you that you're tense, anxious, impatient? Maybe it's time to go for a run on the green belt. Emotional. Are you feeling frustrated, dismissive, irritated? Maybe it's time to call a friend and go have a cup of coffee. Mentally. Are you engaged, or are you thinking about other things when someone's talking to you? Or maybe you just want to block things out. I think that's a good time to meditate, to clear your mind and take a deep breath. Spirituality, hot or cold? I think most of us go one way or the other, and often more to the extreme than we should. I think prayer and study help us find the balance. Number 18, perception, puzzle, perspective. Some years ago, I got hooked on 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzles. I remember opening the first box and dumping all those pieces on the dining room table where I was going to put this thing together. It's overwhelming. And I find that being perceptive is the key component to keep us moving when life just has so many pieces out there, so many things are coming at us, we don't know what to do. And very often you cannot do this alone. Friends, clergy, a therapist, it is not a sign of weakness to seek assistance. Sometimes those 1,000 pieces are so overwhelming that we need to refocus, reframe, remain open. That's the most important. Number 19, a lullaby for your soul. Webster says that a lullaby is a song which is sung to bring sleep to children. I'm going to say that again. A lullaby is a song that is sung to bring sleep to children. I really like that. And sometimes your inner child needs a lullaby. Sometimes your soul needs a lullaby. Some time ago, I wrote the poem Hush My Soul, which is in my meditations book, and I had a short YouTube video based on that. This is for me a type of lullaby for my soul. Find your own, have several. And when you feel things falling apart, spend some time there. 20, lost in loneliness. All of a sudden, our society is so much more aware of it because of COVID. But it's always been there, and it always will be. So this time, I looked at 3 movies that showcase how loneliness happens and why it happens. The feeling of being trapped. Avoidance through escapism. Because we're so afraid what truth might reveal that we just won't even go there. The fear of open, meaningful dialogue. A lot of families have this problem. Someone's told you something about somebody else and you don't know how to feel about that and you don't want to say anything because it just might make things worse. It's just, you have to think through it. You have to think through and decide the best way. But overall, if you are truly in a state of loneliness where you have a great deal of melancholy, then you need to seek ways to move past that. 21, mindfulness scale. In our effort to put things in perspective or to decide what to believe or not believe, there's always a tendency to fully embrace, fully go forward, or to hold back and dismiss something out of hand. So you know how it is when you're on the phone with a company and they say, please stay on the line and answer our little survey. And the questions are something like, on a scale of 1 to 5, well, 1 is not good and 5 is extremely good. How did you feel about the person you just talked to? So why do we have the ones in the middle? I think it's because we need to wonder wisely. We need to evaluate ideas and decide what works for us or doesn't. So here's my mindfulness scale. Number 5. This is always evolving. And we're always evaluating, but then we do find things that we can just fully embrace immediately. 4, sometimes something you just know it's well worth considering, but you feel like you need to dig a little deeper. 3, Much of it's good, but there are some things in there that are quite opposed to what you are currently thinking. So you might want to check that out some more. Number 2, a red flag. Not only are there some things in there that don't quite match what you're thinking, but there are some things in there that are quite opposite of what you're thinking. And even then, we shouldn't just run away from it. Give it a little time. You might find something meaningful enough to make it part of your belief system. Number 1 is danger. Sometimes we run into things that everything in our heart, mind, soul, body tell us to leave alone. Just move on. Run if you have to. But overall, the most important thing is that we wander wisely. 22, boundless boundaries. I got to thinking about it, and I realized that some boundaries are very burdensome. And in order to really enjoy life, move forward in life, we have to find ways to lessen those boundaries. And at some point, we will find that many of those previously burdensome boundaries have become boundless boundaries. Well, what I want to do is read a quote from, oh dear, I can't say the name, Sky Young Nipham. It says there are no boundaries, only possibilities. Now, in a perfect world, we could look at it that way. I think we need to get as close as possible to seeing things as possibilities. But honestly, we still have to fix the car and pay our bills, and there's always going to be things that we aren't going to love. But if we can put them into perspective, if we can find ways to just do it or move on, more and more we're going to find that we have boundless boundaries and so many more possibilities. Number 23, essential me time. Now, I found something on Psych Central that helped me with this one. It starts out with there's a difference between time alone and loneliness. Hold that thought, because we are going to talk about that a little more later. Now, here's their quote. Alone time is a healthy way to recharge, de-stress, and recenter yourself. A lack of alone time can affect our mental health too. End of quote. Now, this is why I call it essential me time, because we do need a time under our own control. You become lonely and isolated, usually by things that you have no control over or very little control over. And that's kind of the bad case of loneliness. But this alone time is also important. It's time to let go of some activities, put the past history into perspective, embrace some time alone. I suggest many me times, like 15 minutes. Now, if you live alone or you're in a house where you can shut the bedroom door and have your 15 minutes undisturbed, that's good. But maybe you're just like a really busy mom with lots of kids and lots of things to do and places to go, and you work also. You have to get a little more creative. So your 15 minutes might be while you're driving to work. Listen to some soothing music. Listen to some inspirational discussions. Now, for 24, I did my top 3, top 10 lists, kind of as a way to share with you even more of who I am. Included travel, books, movies, memories. And it's there if you're interested. I had fun doing it. But I suggest you do that for yourself, because you might learn something about yourself. So in summary, what is this overall message? Behind it all, it's been my belief that there is something outside of self. That if you open your heart, mind, and let the joy in, you will find it. Here's a quote by Art Bell. But I do believe in the paranormal, that there are things that our brains just can't understand, or I would say comprehend. This is what I call the eternal. When it comes to a basic philosophy of life, you really have two choices. You believe in something outside of self or not. And clearly, that's the choice that each individual makes for themselves. So, for me, meditation, prayer, study, pondering is the best way to connect. Seek, and you will find that love that teaches you to love others. And when you get discouraged, pray. Don't wait. God will do the heavy lifting. Perhaps it is time to reconnect with God in a different way. Just wait and follow. God will find you. So, new beginnings. Remember my little porcelain baby dragon? He sits on my desk and reminds me that every day brings some new beginnings. So, don't be afraid. Open the door. Let the joy in. Regardless of what you call this, regardless of the path you take, if you truly see, you will find. If you open your heart and mind and invite the joy in, there's no limit to what you will find. One last, failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. And this was found on ramoma.org. Apparently it was anonymous. Let's say it again. Failure is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. In this life, we're never going to reach a point where we never make a mistake, or we never get upset, or we never, say the wrong thing. That's why we need to embrace those failures and learn from them. Now is always the time to refocus, to take the ideas of others and make them your own, or rule them out. It's always time to seek the eternal, to find balance and perspective. It is always, and always will be, now.